So, you don't have a life. Sounds very dismissive or perhaps extreme. Um, and for the me, it of course would be extreme. But luckily, there isn't a me. I am wearing a shirt that I got in Brussels. This summer, I went to see Kenneth Madden in Brussels. And he told me, I think he told all of us, basically, he said, there isn't you and your life. There's just life. There's just aliveness for no one. There isn't nature and then us who are trying to commune with nature or to be around nature more, or trying to have a relationship with nature or a relationship with life. There's just what is, just aliveness for no one. Already, there's no one in anything, no center, no location, no person, no me. The illusion is the contracted energy. It feels as if there really is separation. And if that is your experience, so be it. It doesn't matter. It's not a problem. The me might say it's a problem for it. I don't want separation. I want unity. I want union with God. I want union with what is. I want to experience or realize my true nature, my Buddha nature. But all there is nature, aliveness, creativity, intelligence, magic, miracles, love, everything. It's everything. It's everything. And even the contracted sense of self is it, even though it is not a thing. It's not that you are trying to be in harmony with life. There's only life. Whatever is appearing to happen is aliveness for no one. It's just that flow, that immediate flow, the immediate intimacy with everything that is. It is everything. But it's not an object. It's nothing that you can grasp or hold on to or try to take into yourself, because there isn't a self and there's not an it. There's just nothing appearing as everything. But it's not even an appearance. All words fall short. The Tao Te Ching says the Tao that can be spoken about is not the real Tao. So definitely, for sure, nothing needs to be said. No video needs to be made. And for whom? And from whom? Everything is already perfect, complete, and whole as it is. It's already this. This is already divine life, divine aliveness, if you want to add the God quality or quotient to it. This. But it could be that the me contracted energy has ideas about what God should feel like or what God should be. It should be this. Basically, the ego says everything pleasant should be God, and anything painful, it shouldn't be there. It can't be God. But Nisargadatta said God is the totality of consciousness. It's everything. And it's all appearing apparently within your awareness. What we come to find out, I know awareness is a buzzword, but awareness is the context. This is what Adyashanti says. And consciousness is everything that's appearing and disappearing within that awareness. If this body or that body were to look at the moon would be appearing in this awareness. So in that sense, nothing is outside of this awareness. You might call that a self, but it's a selfless self. But everything that is appearing, the universe, it's appearing here inside of awareness. And you start to realize that whatever is happening inside the body and what's happening outside of the body are both happening within awareness, beingness, consciousness. So there isn't an outside, and there isn't really an inside per se. Although, again, we could just say everything is inside. But as soon as you say inside, it creates an outside. It's just this. There's no dimension, no location, no place, no here, no now. And not a thing. An energy, but not a thing. An aliveness, but not a thing. It could be a very much a full-on aliveness for no one. Just immediacy, tingling, shimmering, basking, love. But even the painful parts, of course, are this, because all there is this. It should be said, perhaps, for no one, that this is not talking about morality. This is not talking about laws or justice, because that is a different system. Human beings have gotten together, apparently, in the dream, and they have decided that these things are against the law. These things shouldn't happen in a moralistic society. Now, of course, every society is different. Every country is different. And of course, you have subcultures and sub-societies as well. But for the most part, that which you will see, let's say, out in public or on TV, or what people might call the status quo or the norm. In some countries, you shouldn't hold hands. You shouldn't give a peck on the lips or something like that. In other countries, things are much more relaxed. You could probably pretty much do whatever you want. Anyways, this isn't about that. It's not about morality. It's not saying, oh, you can do whatever you want. Nothing matters. Go rob a bank. Go hurt people. Go do all this and that. No, that's not what's being said. We're looking at the true essence of what is. The question is there separation? Nisargadatta said, there is variety, there is difference, but there's no separation. Then other people have said, well, you can't even talk about variety or difference because that implies two, and there's not two. So all of this can be boiled down to zero, to nothing. But again, it's not a nothing as a noun, as a subject or an object. It's no thing, like space. All there is space. Formlessness. It doesn't have a form. No form. And yet it appears to be all forms. But all forms are empty. It's already here. It's already everything. It doesn't need to become something, and it can't become something other than what it is. There's no becoming, there's no movement, there's no going anywhere, because this is already everything. People, speakers, teachers have said, you are that. What is that? Some people have called it the Buddha nature or the Parabrahman, the absolute supreme reality. Again, all words fall short. You are not a word. You are not a concept. You are not an image. This is without concepts. No beliefs are needed. This is not about you believing something new or else or other than what you have apparently believed before. It's not moving from one belief system to a new belief system. It may appear as that. That may be what appears to happen for a while, for a someone. All these air quotes. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're watching a film and 1,000 people drown, like on Titanic or whatever it was, hundreds of people drowned, it's sad. It makes us cry. Oh, so sad. Because we project onto these images, onto the screen. We imagine what it must be like, what it was like for them, or what it might have been for us. What if we were on that ship? What if we were losing Rose or Jack, depending on what your preference is? What would that be like to lose, right? It's about loss. But that is a movie. We feel something, even though really that movie is, well, it used to be film. Who knows what it looks like now or what it is, and light. It's a play of light, images thrown on a screen. Nobody was ever on that Titanic. Nobody ever drowned. This is not said lightly. This character very much feels for other characters. This character very much has been raised and taught to be compassionate, and caring. So this is not said lightly, but this is said apparently without any agenda, without any reason. But apparently it's being said by this character to talk about the end of suffering. Not to be flippant or indifferent. In fact, not that there's a choice, but this could be full on love, full on compassion, maybe even more pain, more empathy for an apparent other, which just happens to be, in a way, like you in a different body. The Buddha, before he was the Buddha, a story of a prince named Siddhartha, a prince who was given everything, a prince who was protected by his father. It's beautiful, actually. His father loved him and didn't want him to experience the pain and the suffering of this world. So he shielded him. Not healthy in the end, but coming out of love, an innocent love, wanting to protect his son. And yet something in his son wanted to know the truth, wanted to know what was really happening outside the palace gates. Is it all like this? Women and good food and, tall ceilings and famous works of art or whatever that palace was filled with? Is there anything more? You see, some people are very complacent, very happy, very satisfied with what is. Not this what is, but a different what is. They're in a what we call a comfort zone or comfort circle. Everything's very nice. Maybe I don't have a lot, but I have it. It's mine. These are my possessions, my family, my friends, my snacks, my time, my thoughts. And it feels very warm and fuzzy, and everything else is outside of the circle. But sometimes, as Leonard Cohen said, sometimes when there's a crack, when there's a moment of pain, when something happens that you clearly don't have any control over, sometimes there's a shift. You see things differently. For this character, on its 19th birthday, it woke up. Not like that. But the night before, it had been having parties and things to celebrate its birthday at a college. And then it woke up and a friend said, "Happy birthday." And this character said, am I happy? Is it a happy birthday? And there was a shift in that moment. There was a pain that had arisen, a realization, really, that life up until that point, it was all kinds of things, but it wasn't going in the direction it wanted it to go. Now, this is all story, but everything's a story. So, but in that story on that day, that character, which just happens to be me, drove home 2 or 3 hours. My dog, and spoke to God, spoke to whatever is, and said, "Is there more? Are you there? What is real? I sense that this needs help. Can you guide this?" I know this is sounding very dualistic, but it doesn't matter. And from that moment, books, people, experiences, events, things came to this character. New things, amazing things, interesting things. And this character was hungry to know the truth. And this character read through so many books and had so many discussions and really tried to find out what was true. And from that point, the character's life changed. It had been involved in whatever it was involved in, and then there was just a newness. Some people talk in different religions about being born again, about dying, about rebirth. When there's a crack, as Leonard Cohen says, sometimes the light gets in, and the light is bright, and it wakes you up. And you start to see more than what you had seen before. So for the Buddha, he saw a sick man, an old man, and a dead man. And he realized, he was quite young still, this body will get sick. It's not always going to be healthy. Even if it's just a cold, something will happen to this body at some point. I don't think any body has lived an entire lifetime without having some kind of illness or sickness. So the body gets sick and the body gets old. Oh, the body ages, it changes. Things become different. The skin gets older, the eyes get older, the faculties get older. The senses maybe don't work as well. Change is going to happen to this body. And then finally, this body will die. It will be the end. But what happens after the end of the body? Is that it? God hangs up on you? You hear the dial tone? What happens after death? Is there a way to avoid the suffering? Is there a way, some people try it, to stop aging? To try to control what is to control what's happening? Can I control my health? Maybe to a degree. Maybe if I eat right and exercise and do all the right things. But of course, we all have done that to some degree at some point. And then we realize, no, the body's going to get sick like this one is. This is apparently the flow of life. Now, this is a dream story, a linear dream story about the birth of a body and the events that happened as the baby grew up and got older and then eventually died. I don't know why laughter appeared, but everybody, it's inescapable. This body, what will happen to the body, it's inescapable. No one can escape illness, getting old, or dying. Perhaps some people can, really work hard and put these things off, put them at bay for a while. But it is inevitable. And in a way, partially, we could say that realizing that life is a river that flows between the banks of pain and pleasure. I get what I want. I don't get what I want. I have a good day. I have a bad day. I feel good. I feel lousy. Maybe I feel neutral. I feel indifferent. Nothing. All kinds of things can happen, but it's all life. There's no line that says this is good and this is bad. In a way, some of this is just about becoming mature. Children, teenagers, sometimes they think they could live forever. But as an adult, whatever, at some point you realize, again, illness is inevitable. Aging is inevitable. Change is inevitable for the form. And death at some point will happen. At some point, everybody loses somebody. Maybe as a child, you lost a grandparent or even a friend. But that change, that suffering, the pain that happens, inevitable pain that happens to a human body, emergency. It is part of life. It is the river of life that flows between the banks of pain and pleasure. Pain and pleasure. I like it. I don't like it. I want it. I don't want it. So, going back to the title of this video, You Don't Have a Life. Of course, that might sound very absurd. Of course, I have a life. Of course, this is my body, my timeline, my stories. It would be absurd, and there would be no desire to debate that with you. Of course. So, is there a me? When we say my life, who is this my? Who is this me, this I, that is claiming this life as its own? It's me. Who are you? Is there anyone inside the body? It feels like it. It feels like there's a separate self. It may be seen by no one that there isn't a self, that there isn't a person inside, there isn't a me, there's not a little someone in the brain controlling everything. All there is what is appearing to be this aliveness, this expression for no one of life. in a very real way, nothing has to change. But change happens, apparently. Excuse me. Everything is changing, apparently, in the timeline. Thoughts are constantly changing, feelings changing, all the five senses getting different information, always changing. Apparently, time and space changing. But it's this. It's never not this. So, what is being said is that this doesn't change. It's always what it is. Apparent change. If you have the ocean, there is apparent change at the top, at the surface, waves, maybe little twirlies. But it's always the ocean. This is the ocean of freedom and love, unconditional love. It has to be unconditional because there isn't an other. It's this. Everything is perceived as this. There isn't an other to judge. So everything is allowed because there's no authority. There's no one in control. This is just simply appearing as this. It may feel like your life, but what is being said here is that there's never been a you. There's not a you now. There's never been a you in the past, and there for sure won't be a you in the future. There's only this, appearing as whatever is appearing. For no one.